Okay, awesome. All right, so bear with me, guys. I've got my camera here and then my slides here, so bear with me. But okay, so I want to thank you guys first off for taking the time out of your evening to join us. If we haven't met yet, I'm Evan Witt. I am the new GO in Louisiana, and I'm joined with Dennis Crawford. He is the GO in Texas. So our goal tonight is to share with you how we're diving into our new emergency food assistance initiative and talk about how you can accept requests and how it works and how you can help us out. So we are going to drop a couple things into the chat later today, the job aid and some safety guidelines that for you to look over when we're done with this. And then we're going to start with kind of an overview of the program, and then Dennis is going to do a walkthrough of how you can see and accept the requests on roll call. So we can go ahead and do the next slide, and then you guys can ask us any questions that you have towards the end. Going to be short and sweet. Okay, so the nuts and bolts. So what is EFA? That's an initiative that TR has just launched through our partnerships with Bristol Myers Squibb Foundation and the Patient Advocacy Foundation. The purpose of this new program is to provide crucial food delivery services to folks who have serious medical conditions and who are experiencing financial strain during COVID. So our partners are offering a one-time $500 food grant to these individuals to help pay for food or other nutritional needs that they might have. And then TR steps in by connecting those folks with Gray Shirts who are offering food delivery services to their place of residence. So this is actually incredibly impactful to people who are immunocompromised who have no other safe means to get groceries. So in a way, it's kind of like Postmates, but way better. So we can go ahead and do the next slide. Okay, so how this works is the client will submit an application through TR's website to request assistance. The application takes them through a questionnaire that determines their eligibility, and if they are eligible, then an EFA request is generated. If they're requesting only financial assistance, then that will go directly to our partners. If they're requesting financial assistance and then also food delivery services or just food delivery services, then that goes to TR, and that request is made available on roll call to Gray Shirts within a 50-mile radius of that client. And then at that point, so for example, if there is a request in your area, you can view and you can accept that request by going to the community activities page on roll call and then accepting it. And so at the end of this last half, Dennis is going to walk you through where to find those requests on roll call and the process for accepting it. And then if you see here on the top right, this is kind of that top right image is just kind of a glimpse of the application process for the client, so all the questionnaires that they go through. And then on the bottom right, that's just going to be a glimpse into what you're going to see on roll call. The little tiny blue dot, if you can see it with the arrow, that indicates a request that is made available in your area. Okay, perfect. So next slide, please. So it should be a pretty simple process. You accept the request, and then when you accept the request on roll call, you're provided the client's contact ID card. You can then reach out to the client directly to confirm the delivery details. If you see here, there are 3 types of delivery processes. The ideal situation is for the client to pre-order their groceries for you to pick up directly from the store and then drop off at the client's residence. That's not always possible. So when it's not, we rely on the just-in-time process. So in this process, you schedule a time to meet with the client to pick up the funds and then the shopping list. And then you'll go to the store, you'll pick up their groceries and then deliver it back to their home. And I want to point out here that under no circumstances should the Gray Shirts or you guys be using your own money or TR PECs or credit cards. The goal here is that the client has already received the financial assistance. They should be financially stable enough to pay for their groceries until they receive the check, or that they just need food delivery services in general. So you should not be buying items with your own money. And then also, when we're going to drop in a little bit of this, there's a safety guide that we've created, and also it's listed on roll call. And that provides guidelines for protecting yourself and the clients when delivering the food. So please make sure you take a look at that. It's also going to be in the chat, and it's also on roll call. So if the just-in-time process doesn't work, then we do the alternative food source. So this third option will take place when there is no other option to get the food to them, whether they be outside the area, that there's local Gray Shirts or what have you. So when this occurs, TR will employ an alternative process by engaging with local food banks or pantries to provide that client with food. So those are your three options. And so that's when you contact the client initially, you'll kind of determine that. And then after you make contact with the client and determine those details, you can schedule the time to pick up the groceries and deliver them to the client. Okay, and then next slide. So, as you guys know, this current climate has provided unexpected challenges and heartaches for so many people, especially those who have major underlying medical conditions who are at risk. For the last 2 weeks, actually, now the Graciots have been stepping up across the country to ensure that their neighbors have access to the food that they need to maintain their health during COVID-19 pandemic. So our goal is to make sure that no one goes hungry, especially with a Graciot like yourself, as a neighbor ready nearby to serve. Okay, next slide. Okay, so your role as a Graciot. So you can directly impact the success of this new program by first and foremost ensuring that you are eligible to fulfill a request. Very basic eligibility requirements, a cleared background check, be in the low risk category for COVID, and have a personal vehicle or a vehicle that you can use for the delivery. Other ways that you can impact this initiative is sign up for the you can sign up for the assignable reserves. And so this is a really big one. It helps not only for our emergency food assistance, but also our other feeding ops and future ops as they come available. If you don't know how to provide availability for assignable reserves, you can reach out to either me or Dennis or your local volunteer leader, and we can help you walk through that process. And then we also encourage you to reach out to your other local Graciots to encourage them to accept requests and to be a part of the emergency food assistance initiative as well. And then last but not least, if you're able to, get out there, accept a request, and make a difference in the life of your neighbor. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so that's the nitty and gritty, and then we're going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Dennis, and he's going to walk us through where to find these requests on roll call, how you can accept it, and the logistics for that. So I'll turn it over to him.
All right. Howdy, everybody. My name is Dennis. I am the DFW Geo Associate, and I'm going to walk you through the steps. The hardest part of this entire process is just getting to the site. Everything else after that is pretty intuitive. So the first place that you're going to want to check is after you've logged into roll call, you can find two locations. This right here is the easiest way to get in there. Just click on the picture that says step up and serve your neighbors, and it takes you right to the page. But if for some reason you need to walk somebody through that process, or you forget which picture it is, it's a revolving photo, come over here to edit profile, click on that, and then click on community activities. Both of those links will take you directly where you want to go. So once you've clicked on that link, it'll take you to a page where we are dropping everything for the emergency food assistance. When you log in, you're going to notice a couple things. First thing you're going to see is a map. Second thing you're going to see is this zip code, which until it gets fixed, it is not working. So just rely on the map for now. The last thing that you're going to see, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, is going to be EFA, or Emergency Food Response Activities assigned. Any blue dots or requests that you have accepted, that you have taken responsibility, that you're volunteering for, will populate down here in a list. So you'll see a couple dots up here. The red one is going to be your location, and the blue one is going to be the location of any requests that have been submitted. So once you're ready to go ahead and select a request, you go ahead and hover over that blue dot and click on the confirm button that pops up. So in the next slide, if you scroll down just a little bit on that same page, you're going to see, once you click confirm, it'll have the need and the date, the location, and then all you have to do is just click confirm. So once you hit confirm, that's when you have actually accepted the request, and it will show you the information that you will need to perform the service. So when you click on that, you're going to see a couple names up at the top, the client's name and a primary contact. The primary contact is going to be for anybody that is coordinating the request on behalf of the client. So it could be a relative, it could be a close friend, it could be a neighbor, but if it is not the client themselves, that is where you will find their information. So the next is going to be the contact information and the address. The contact information is important because you want to communicate with the client before you go out to perform the service, the grocery delivery service. Maybe there's some coordinating instructions, some timelines, maybe there's a gate code, maybe they have a really mean chihuahua that you got to watch out for. I don't know, but for some reason you'll want to. But for that reason, you'll want to contact them in advance and just explain the process. Maybe they're new to this, and by talking with them, they can get a little bit more comfortable with the process as a whole. And you'll see the address. If you scroll down just a little bit more, not that far. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see the city and the zip code. And here's the rest of the information that would be pertinent for accepting this request. Dietary restrictions, maybe some hours that they have some restrictions on. Um, but again, calling the client themselves would take care of a lot of this as well. But this is also here for your information. Scrolling down just a little bit further, once you complete the service, this is going to be where you document everything that had happened. So how long did it take in minutes? And that's going to be from door to door. So the second that you step out your door, drive over there, deliver the grocery, pick up the groceries, deliver the groceries, come back and walk through your door again. That's going to be the minutes that you enter into that call into that spot location. How much did it cost? It was $75 worth of groceries. Payment method, was it check, credit card, or cash? Notes. Here you can add any notes. Communicated with the client, picked up the groceries and delivered them. They had $50 in cash. I gave them the receipt and the exact change back. Towards the very bottom, you're going to see the community activity status. You have 3 options down there. The default is going to be assigned. So once you accept that request, it automatically defaults to assigned. That means that it is in your name. The other 2 options are going to be completed and non-completed, or not completed. So under completed, if you complete the service, you go in there, mark it completed, completion date, save, it's done. If for some reason, because life happens, you have to use the not completed, this is going to be anything from, it's too late in the day, maybe you couldn't get in touch with them, your car broke down, you couldn't, I don't know, anything. You couldn't get a babysitter. Life happens. We understand that. If for some reason it's not completed, make sure it's documented as not completed. And then another window will pop up down beneath the completion date, says reason for not completed. Just go ahead and mark the reason that it was not completed and click save. However, that is only going to be if they do not need the service. If they still need the service, we're going to keep it open. So once you go back and say, for example, you log into Roll Call and you accept the service, you go through the entire process, you contact them, but your roll call logs out. It's going to happen. The chances of you performing this service while your roll call is still logged in, slim to none. So go back to that first page, the same thing that I'd showed you before. Click on that same picture or the edit profile and then community activities, and it'll take you to the same page. And what I had mentioned before was that all of the requests that you have accepted are going to be populating right here. You can, when you need to go in and close it out after the service is completed, you've got these 2 options. So when you click on options, these 2 options are going to populate: call off service and verify service. Call off service is going to be like we were talking about before. If for some reason your car breaks down, you can't find a babysitter, but you can't perform the service itself, we want to make sure it does get the assistance that they are asking for. So if you click on call off, then come over here and click yes, what that does is it unassigns it from your name and then it repopulates on the map so that another gray shirt within 50 miles can go ahead and take it and carry out that service. If you go through there and you perform the service and everything is completed, you click on options and down here to verify service, and then it takes you right back to this page right here. You scroll down to the very bottom, and just as we had mentioned before, of course it's got a mind of its own right now, just as we'd mentioned before, how long did it take, how much did it cost, any notes, completed, completion date, save. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So with that, do we have any questions?
So to start off, I saw a question earlier in the chat from John. John was asking about what to do and how to check status when you call a client and they haven't received their check yet.
Oh, that is an excellent question. Let me see if I can pull up the link real quick. I'll drop it in the chat. So you will find that some folks have requested the $500 micro grant. However, they have not received the grant itself. The first thing, and this is again why it's important to reach out to the client themselves, is that you want to confirm that everything's okay, and then thank you, Evan. Evan, go ahead and drop that link in there. Direct the patient, or excuse me, not patient, direct the client to this link. They can click on it, they can log in, and they can check the status of their check. So, very good question. Any other questions?
I haven't seen any other questions populate into the chat. If I missed yours, either shout out now or drop it on in there and we'll get it answered for you.
One Flynn Christian. I'm a little concerned about the safety aspect of this. One gray shirt going to some possibly questionable neighborhoods. Have Has the head shed thought about that? I mean, going as a gray shirt, as single individual to a neighborhood.
So of course, safety is always a concern, and so if you, we always encourage people, if you would like to go in pairs, you're welcome to. We always encourage that people take those safety precautions, and if you're not comfortable, then we understand. We did drop a safety guide in there, which encourages people to make sure that we're keeping safety distancing, safe distancing from everybody as well, and ensuring other safety elements that you can do. And like I said, if you would like to go in pairs, that is absolutely something that we encourage. It's completely up to you. And if you have anything to add, Dennis, you can.
No, that's a very good point. And worst case scenario, just contact client services and let them know. I mean, open communication. We don't want the safety of our gray shirts is of utmost priority. But open communication, making sure that this client who's expecting a service from us, obviously we don't want to put leave a bad taste in their mouth regarding our organization. So we want to make sure that communication is key.
I have a question. You mentioned that you could pay with a credit card, cash, or whatever. And I read on the website, I thought I read that it only is for cash. So
I think
can you just
card part I was referring to was if you have a PEX card or a TR credit card, I think that's what we're referring to, asking to not use.
Oh, okay.
Because that will not be reimbursed. But yes, it's cash.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
There's another question from Joanna in the chat, which is that she hasn't found any requests in her area. Could it be because there's no requests or because there's a map issue? And I believe there is a current map issue. Do you guys want to cover down on that?
I was going to say, if you maybe you should connect with us afterwards, because what is your thoughts, Dennis? At this point, it's been an ongoing issue with the map giving us a little bit of issues in regards to showing the EFA requests in the area. So it's supposed to be resolved. We can connect with you individually, but it might be the case that you might not have any in your area. Some of them are being accepted quickly, others are just not populating in those areas. It just depends. So I think that might be a case by case thing. What do you think, Dennis?
The other thing to consider is because that zip code search is not working, if somebody entered in a zip code, that might deplete interest. So we can, if you don't have anything in your area, we can certainly take a look at it. We've got access right now, and we can definitely look into it.
Another question from John. He said he called a client and they were told that there was no funding left in the program and they were going to put their application into a second program. Do you guys want to tackle that one?
That one, so the funding is not handled by Team Rubicon. That is handled by the Patient Advocacy Foundation. From what I understand of the program, the $2 million was provided by the Bristol Myers Squibb Foundation to the Patient Advocate Foundation, and they're going to keep supporting grants, micro grants, until the money runs out. But I have heard nothing about money running out. I couldn't answer that one way or another.
I think you have the same information that I do, Dennis. The program is still very much live and active, so I wonder if there wasn't a disconnect between maybe they had multiple irons in the fire. That would be a great one to send up to the client services at email address, though, and they can try to resolve it for them. Another one.
Hi, this is Jeff.
Oh, go ahead.
Uh,
Ask your
I'm
question.
sorry. I have a quick question. I literally just signed up this week, and I looked at the map yesterday, and there were 2 different blue dots that I could go to. But I'm curious about how to work with how to pay for the groceries for them. Obviously, I don't have a Gray Shirt card or anything like that. So how would I assist the 2 people that I saw yesterday?
Yeah, so we want to ensure that that you guys are not using your own personal money. We're not using Tiara credit cards or PEX cards. So the goal is that they have already received their financial grant. If they've not, then they are either going to wait till they receive their grant, or they have the ability to go ahead and pay for the groceries until they're reimbursed from the grant. So ideally, you have those 3 processes. When you reach out to the client themselves, you can ask them, are you going to pre-order your groceries, which, like we mentioned earlier, is the ideal situation. They pre-order their groceries and you go pick it up from the grocery store, and then there's no money handling involved at all. That's the ideal situation. Not everyone's tech savvy, not everybody uses grocery pickup. So if they don't, then you contact them, you coordinate with them and say, hey, I'm with TR, I'm here, I want to help. And if they are not comfortable with that, then you set up and you schedule a time to pick up the cash from them along with their grocery list, and then you'll do the grocery shopping for them and bring it back to their house. That's kind of option 2. But under no circumstances should anybody be using their own funds. If that answers your question.
Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to the team. That's exciting. First week.
Yeah. Woo woo.
I'm very excited.
Happy to have you.
All right, so another question, I think you might have just clarified it, but John was asking if they're pre-ordering, can't they pay with their own credit card? And yes, absolutely. That's the intent and hope for that. Stephen was telling Joanna that about checking frequently, which I think you already kind of covered, Evan. And that gets me to the bottom of the chat. So if there's any fresh questions out there, go ahead and hit us with them. We are also, of course, coming up on the end of this time. So if you guys are wanting to get back to your nights, that's also a great option.
And if you guys think of any questions that you're not thinking of at the moment, you're also welcome to reach out to us, or you're welcome to reach out to your local leaders as well.
Yeah, so I emailed everybody who was registered as of like 2 p.m. this morning, or 2 p.m. this afternoon. So most of you folks should already have all of our email addresses. But if you were a later join, or perhaps you got here from a social media post from one of your area leads, Evan, could you go ahead and drop some email addresses into the chat for them so that they can take it over? I'll take a couple of these minutes here to pitch things real quick. Guys, so another thing is just other ways to engage, especially if you're newer. If you haven't gotten yourself deployable and updated your information in the Ready Reserve, we have new operations, both Kick the King and traditional core operations kicking off all the time. So there's lots of opportunities to get out in the field, get your shirt dirty that way. And then last but certainly not least, right now on Facebook, on the Guinness webpage, there is live trivia happening, and everybody who attends, TR gets $1 of that from our friends at Guinness. So if you're looking for ways to spend the rest of your night relaxing with a nice cold brew and some entertaining trivia, I believe Joel McHale from Community is hosting that session. So might be a fun way to connect for the rest of your night. We're just about at time. I do see some more chat messages populating. Got our email addresses in there. So Taylor, as an over 65er, there's definitely still some ways to engage. suggest getting in touch with your local area leads because we have lots of remote support going both for this program and for many others. So if you're not sure who your local area leads are, email the three of us and we can get you connected. Yes, and Dennis is fancy. He is not just Dennis Crawford. He is Dennis Crawford the second. Makes it much more difficult. Joanna, it doesn't matter if you're horrible at trivia. It's really just about the fun of being there.
I
Okay.
have a last second question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Do we have one more question? Or two more?
Yeah, I do real quick. David from San Antonio.
What you got, David?
So my quick question is, can we put the slides that show how the clients are supposed to fill out the forms onto like our page or whatever? Because I have a client already and he had no idea on how to go through the process and he wasn't sure if he got the grant and how he would set it up, and that would probably help our clients as well.
So that link that we posted earlier, that has that link that we use. Let's see, what does it say? What is the patient advocacy? The Team Rubicon Patient Advocate, that will show, if they can sign into that, they can see their status and see their where they are right now with their grant. So they've already applied online, so they're good with that. So they're just needing to know the status of their grant. Am I understanding correctly?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, they already signed up. I already accepted, and we've already contacted each other, but we weren't sure of what part of the process he was at, so I can actually deliver the groceries to him.
I'm posting it again, but this link right here, if they sign into that, they can see the status of their grant. The client themselves, if they sign in, they'll see where they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the job aid into the Slack, or excuse me, into the chat one more time. If you have any questions, or if any of your gray shirts have any questions about the process, it is a lengthy document. It's 6 pages. This Blue Jeans call was an overview of it. You saw how pretty quick it went, but this is a very detailed explanation of the process itself. So if for some reason, you kind of have one of those moments you forgot what the next step was, the job aid will do an excellent step-by-step walkthrough of how to get the whole thing taken care of.
Nope.
All right, gang. So that's time. Feel free to go out and enjoy your evenings, but we'll hang out for another couple minutes if anybody has any last-minute questions or if there's something you want to ask that's kind of off topic. And I'm going to turn the recording off with that.